That's a good one. Sunset.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Board of School Directors Monthly Action Meeting. Just to remind everyone that this is being recorded on SATV, live streaming, Comcast Cable 28, Verizon Fios Channel 46. Also reminding everyone that the mission of the Souderton Area School District is to prepare students to demonstrate competencies needed to contribute and to succeed in a changing world by building a commitment to excellence and innovation, by working in partnership with family and community, and by assuring a quality education for all students in a safe and nurturing environment. Protocol, if you need to speak, you were to sign the blue sheets on an agenda item, the yellow sheets for a non-agenda item. And if I could ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Taylor, roll call.
Mr. Barnett.
Here.
Mr. Bradshaw.
Present.
Mr. Gong. Here. Mr. Lizette.
Present.
Mr. Formica.
Here.
Mr. Keith. Here. Mr. Landis. Mr. Nelson.
Here.
And Ms. Hoover.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, student spotlights.
Today's student spotlight is a highlight of a special recognition we did
last week of school where some board members came over to recognize some students who did some great things. So we did a special recognition there. You'll see that highlights there. And also some highlights from graduation, right, Mr. Franz? Graduation was, how many was that, right? You were at graduation. Yeah, whether you were at graduation, whether held out. You managed it for tonight. So go ahead, Henry.
We had 38 students participate in at least one of the science fair competitions. 27 of the 38 were in first place. So that's this group of here. We've had 7 students get perfect scores in the science fairs, so that's a great accomplishment. And then I do want to just make one special recognition to Elizabeth Person. She's a senior. It's really hard to keep going and do it as a senior because you get very, very busy. But she has won a first place in every year of her high school career. So that's good to see.
The fellow students are being recognized because they all were auditioned and accepted into a level of the Pennsylvania Music Educators Association honors groups. And there are 3 levels. There are district level, region level, and state level. And all of these students were accepted at those different levels. The 3 students that made it into the either a district, region, or state band, we have Liam Gibson. He made it on trombone. Liam, wait for everybody. Cool. Liam made it on trombone. We have Wade Dahlgren, who also made it up to the region level on trombone. And then we have Carly Faulkner, and Carly was accepted all the way up to state level on clarinet. So we had 5 fantastic vocalists accepted at our district level, best singers from Bucks and Montgomery counties. We had Gabe Simright as our bass representative. We had sopranos Elizabeth Hersick and Shannon Stover. And we had altos Caitlin Stover and Olivia Rittenhouse here that were accepted at the district level. Olivia and Caitlin and Shannon advanced on to the region level, which encompasses all of Bucks, Montgomery, Chester, Delaware, and Philadelphia counties. And then even more so than that, Shannon Stover advanced on to the state level, and at the state conference for her final round of auditions was ranked as the #1 soprano in all of the state of Pennsylvania. So give it up for all round fantastic vocalists at the This is just like a small subset of our team. We have 88 people on the roster, 85 that competed. It is double than what it was for some of our seniors freshman year. We had a great regular season. One of our winning record in league play. Probably the first time in like 7 to 10 years, we broke 13 school records between the winter and the spring, and then all excuse me, at the end of the season where we ended up winning districts and not state championship. So it's just an absolute great run, and I know there's more in store, and thank you again, everyone.
My track team was unique in that we achieved our success together. We went 3-0 this season, and we had many talented athletes, but our wins were truly a team effort. I have no individual stats to share, or maybe much to Owens to say. They asked me for his time after his first race, and I said really, really fast, because I didn't actually know the time. But we had a lot of meaningful moments, which were more than important to the team. So last, I just want to recognize our 2 senior leaders, Penny and Cameron, who without them, our team would not have been successful. They made a huge impact on our season, and I'm sure they're going to make a huge impact in the special education world. And who knows, maybe one day their adventures will bring them back to Southampton too. So thank you for a great season, and thank you for all your support.
These girls have a lot of heart. If you come out and watch them play, they love the sport. They put everything into it. Very relational girls. Had wonderful, wonderful conversation with them after practice, after games, and all those things are more important to me than any wins that we could have had this year. So we're just getting started. These girls have just they've barely made their mark, and so you can look for them to make a lot of noise in the next couple of years. So thank you again for your time, and glad that you're able to.
Graduates,
Let today be the day and the beginning of a lifetime of bold choices. Chase the extraordinary and never settle for anything less than the life you dream of. Carpe diem isn't just a phrase, it's a way of life. My challenge to all of you is to continue to seize the day. Live it fully, love with your whole heart, and never give up. Enjoy your journey and enjoy the present moment. The in-between matters, and the journey is so often much more valuable than the destination you're trying to reach. Let yourself wander and wonder. Let yourself mess up spectacularly and laugh about it later. Let yourself grow upward and inward, because if we have learned anything in these past 4 years, it's that success is about so much more than a perfect report card or an award certificate. It's about our resilience, curiosity, kindness, and willingness to push forward even when we don't think we're ready. Why save our best for last when we can give our all the entire way? Every step we take, every corner we turn, we always have the choice to give something 100%. Don't wait until the last opportunity to fully commit. Even if your 100% does not look the same as your neighbor's, it's okay. We're all given the chance to grow, and it's important to lift one another up and help each other when life gets hard. I challenge you all to make every moment count. Give your all to your friendships, your passions, your endeavors, even when it is hard and even when no one else is watching.
Class of 2025, your graduation is over. Congratulations, you are Sargent Area High School graduates.
We had a spectacular year with athletics and academics, and that's just a culmination of the end of the year activities that happened. We always do well at the state science fair, I'm not surprised. And Elizabeth, that you've seen, started many times at representative, she's a spectacular young lady, and she's going to school for opera. So hopefully we see her, in the New York City Opera someday. I'm going to go pay. So, thank you.
Just one comment on that. I know that as a board member, it's probably one of our happiest and I think prideful moments that, you know, we all are a part of this. And just to see it when I was waiting under the goalposts and I heard Dr. Verano just list the accomplishments of the students, it was just amazing. And I felt the little part that I played in, very small, but it's a part of this community. So I guess if any of the board members want to say anything about this commencement or anything right now. Okay. We will move on to public comments.
Hi, Joe. I'm on 906.
We have Stephanie Jamison on agenda item 6.22.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Jamison. I live in Somerton. I'm the president of Somerton Area for All, but tonight I'm speaking in my personal capacity. An item on the action agenda is renewal of the contract with Fox Rothschild. The public should be made aware of the subpar work this law firm has done on behalf of the district. Last fall, an attorney from this law firm sent 3 letters to community members on behalf of the district banning them from district property. These letters stemmed from an incident detailed in several news articles. I want to encourage members of the public to read these letters. They are available on SomertonRightToKnow.com. Two of these letters are identical, indicating that they have been cut and paste, resulting in factual errors. For example, the letter indicated that both men were the father of the young adult who also received a letter banning them from district property. Were these errors made in haste? Possibly, but a simple proofread of these letters would have identified the error. We expect our students to proofread their work, but not our attorneys who are being paid thousands of taxpayer dollars. This sloppy work should be reason enough to fire Fox Rothschild. After these letters were sent, the district was contacted by the ACLU and warned that, among other things, banning people from school board meetings violated their free speech and due process rights, and that they would take legal action if the district did not rescind these letters. The district refused to reverse course, and as a result, the ACLU sued. Several months later, the letters were rescinded by the district. I believe Fox Rothschild is costing and failing the taxpayers of the Savage Area School District. We deserve better.
Rosemary, could you call for on solicitor contract?
Yes. Those specific items. Oh, I said the wrong one. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna switch it for you.
Thank you. My mistake.
Good evening, Rosemary Buda, Savage Borough. Tonight, you will be approving the contract with two different law firms for legal services for the 25-26 school year. These are Fox Rothschild as district solicitor and Sweet Stevens Katz and Williams as special education counsel. In Pennsylvania, school districts are subject to the right to know law, which promotes transparency and public access to government records. Under the right to know law, solicitor contracts, like other contracts dealing with the receipt or disbursement of public funds, are considered public records and should be made accessible to the public. It's important to provide these contracts to the public so that residents understand how taxpayer money is being spent on legal services. Tonight's agenda tells us that the payment for dental exams will be $7 per student, that a group counselor for sports camp will earn $14.57 per hour, and a summer custodian will be paid the hourly wage of $13.72. But does the public know how much the legal services will cost? Is this a monthly retainer? Are there hourly fees, and are these fees capped? Reviewing the contract allows the public to assess the legal services, the cost involved, and how these services match the district's needs. This open process fosters trust between the school district and the community. The contract details are not attached to the agenda, yet they will be voted on tonight. When will this information be provided, which the public is entitled to, or does another right to know request have to be filed? Thank you.
Alex Swisser on the topic of 7.1 budget.
Alex Wisser, Upper Southbridge Township. While the school board does not control state or federal budgets, it does control how it manages and communicates about the district's budget. The board has a responsibility to clearly explain how tax dollars are being spent, to provide timely and accessible financial information, and to ensure that the public feels included and informed in the budgeting process. Transparency builds trust, and that is fully within the board's control. For example, tonight I had to look in the footnotes of the budget presentation to find the millage percentage increase, 3.95%, because it wasn't in any of the explicit charts. Excuse me, taxpayers deserve full transparency and Sourton deserves better. Thank you.
Tom Woldenberger on agenda item 6.2, 119, 21, and 28.
I promise I'm keeping it short and sweet tonight, and this is the only time you'll hear from me. First of all, regarding 6.2, putting the agenda from the previous copies of the minutes, thank you. This is what I've been asking for the last few months, and I appreciate seeing it on there, and I hope it will continue. Regarding 6.21, the collective bargaining, just wondering if the terms of this agreement were worked into the budget that's being voted on tonight, and if there were any significant cuts that would, I assume this is probably the teachers' contracts. Correct me if I'm wrong, but were there any significant cuts that were put towards that
The Teamsters Global 384 represents our custodian and maintenance crews.
Okay.
And yes, the numbers are factored into the budget you see. When you ask about cuts, you're referring to budget cuts?
Were there any cuts in that affected their contract?
Cuts like staffing cuts or?
Yeah, staffing cuts, no, good, all right, awesome. 619, that was the holidays. I'm just wondering what the factors were put into determining those dates. Because it seems like it's only certain religious holidays, and whether students who do not follow these holidays due to other beliefs or other faiths would be offered leniency, alternative options if needed. And I can take my answer later. The other thing I wanted to touch on was 622. I want to know why we're retaining a legal firm that has clearly led us through some costly and questionable legal procedures, especially the past year, from allowing the public to be removed from meetings, barring people from attending meetings without ID, and causing unnecessary lawsuits because taxpayers demanded accountability. All this seems to protect the biggest stain in the history of this district. I hope you will not renew this contract, bid it out, and help begin the healing because we deserve better. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the public comment. Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Mr. Stabenow. Report of executive session. An executive session was held on June 11, 2025 to discuss legal matters and labor negotiations. The session lasted approximately 30 minutes. An executive session was held prior to tonight's meeting to discuss the annual school safety and security report, legal matters, and personal matters, including staff resignations, retirements, and appointments. The session lasted approximately 60 minutes. Dr. Geller, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Yeah, thank you for a great year to our administration team and our board. Good year in so many ways. I hope everyone has a chance to relax this summer and enjoy maybe some summer weather fun. School buildings will be busy over the summer. We have 3 major construction projects that will continue at South Hill to West Broad and Indian Crest. And I did visit the West Broad site today, and there's a lot happening there. It's exciting. Summer camps are in place at Oak Ridge and Franconia. We have 90 additional campers this year compared to previous years. And summer sports camps begin next month of July, at the high school. And offices will be busy registering students, ordering supplies, and preparing to welcome students and others. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Geller. What do you make the consent agenda?
Mr. Nelson, at this time, I would like to recommend to the board that they approve the consent action items 6.2 to 6.24 as presented. Board members are invited to remove an item from the consent action agenda if further discussion is needed. Items on the consent action agenda that are to be considered motions for approval are board meeting minutes, financial statements and check listings, ratified requests to attend conferences, approved requests for out-of-state overnight field trips, approved personnel items, approved medical director, physicians, and dentists for the 25-26 school year, approved third reading and final adoption of policy 805, approved the third reading and final adoption of policy 806, approved curriculum revisions for Heritage Spanish, approved high school program of study revisions, approved the comprehensive school improvement plan update, approved the disposal of excess, obsolete, and non-repairable equipment, approved a resolution naming 5 additional local holidays per the PA school code, approve appointing a voting delegate for the PSBA delegate assembly meeting, approve collective bargaining agreement between the Teamsters Local 384 and the Sargent Area School Board, approve Fox Rothschild as district solicitor for the 2025-2026 school year, approve Sweet Stevens, Katz, and Williams as district special education counsel for 25-26, approve confidential settlement and release agreement. And that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Geller. Do I hear a motion to second? Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Aye. 622. I'll approve all except 622. 6.622.
Do you want to pull that up as we said, or you want
Is that how we do that? Then that's fine.
Yeah.
I guess you have to make a motion to move that item to a separate list before we vote on the meeting.
So did you make that motion, Mr. Price? Make a motion?
Yes.
I hear a second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
So then I guess the call roll on all matters except for 6.22, which will be a separate vote.
So you have a motion
For all items except 6.22.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda from 6.1 to 6.21, and then 6.23 and 6.24? So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so that, okay, I thought we voted on that. We voted just on the motion.
Yeah, we voted on the motion to fall, we voted on everything else.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Fox Run Child contract for the 25-26 school year.
Move. Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Passes 6-2. Okay, now we go into discussion action agenda for our budget. I'm going to turn over the microphone to Pete.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Good evening, folks. Welcome to the budget part. 25-26 school year budget is what we're going to be voting on momentarily. Same process every year. It's not unusual in other school districts. They do it the same way as well. It's about a year's worth of time, so this is the culmination of that effort. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Taylor in just a minute, but I have a few comments before he briefs the board one last time. One, I just want to say thank you, Mr. Taylor, you and your team. Frankly, it is your job to do the budget. We're part of it, but I do appreciate the effort you put into it, and that's not lost on us, so thank you once again to you and your team. Folks, when we set out to approve a budget, obviously, I've lived in the community all my life, we all live here, we pay our taxes, and we want to make it as least impactful from a financial perspective as possible. But I can speak only for Saracen, that we've been very clear as a community that we want to support our kids in every way humanly possible. So a couple of the factors that we thought about doing this year that we wanted to meet. Number one, we didn't want to negatively impact programs by cutting programs. I have to say we didn't cut programs. Number two, we didn't want to impact our teachers in a highly negative way through a layoff or anything of the sorts. I have to say we did not do that as well. On the topic of special ed, we stood by this many times in this budget process. I've said it, other board members have said it. We will meet the demands. It's not getting easier, folks. It's getting harder. That's not here in Saracen. That's not here in Pennsylvania. That's across the nation. But we are doing everything we can to meet that. So we met that as well. We are meeting the needs of our special ed students, while meeting the needs of our regular ed students as well. And last but not least, doing it in the most cost-effective way. Tricky? Yeah, that's an underscore for sure. It will get harder. Act 1 is slated to come down. It gets more and more challenging. The cost of services are going up. Again, that's not here in Saracen, that's across the board. So we will continue to do everything while honoring those commitments as much as humanly possible. I made no promises for future years, but that was some of our goals this year. Happy to say that we did that without stealing any thunder or spoiler alert. We did it with a balanced budget. There are districts around us, if you want to do some research, they've adopted deficit spend budgets. That is their prerogative. That is not something Saracen feels is necessary. We feel a balanced budget is the best thing for us as a district. And again, that's what we achieved as well. With this few notes in mind, I'm going to turn to Mr. Taylor.
All right, the presentation is up on the large screen in the back there for people to see. Just going to go over a couple slides real quick. We'll talk about significant budgetary changes from this year compared to last year. You can see there's 5 different areas that have had a change of greater than $500,000 in their budget. You can see the corresponding percentage change with that. You can see the instruction regular programs is up $2.4 million for a 3.97% change. Special ed programming that we talked about before, that's up a little over $2.9 million. It's an increase of 9.6%. Student transportation up $586,000 for a 6.49% increase. And then debt service. This has been a popular topic over the last year. Our debt service is dropping by almost $2.5 million next year for a 23% increase. So once again, with all the construction we've done, our debt service is dropping off next year.
And then we're doing internal service, internal fund transfer to capital reserve of $800,000. Next, here's the revised projections since last week's presentation. On the left-hand side are revenue adjustments. District staffing has a reduction in revenue, and I'll explain that real quick. When we have a reduction in district staffing expenditures, so too is the reduction in their pension and FICA costs. And the state reimburses the district 50% of the pension and FICA costs. So that's why there's a reduction in revenue due to district staffing. We have a decrease in real estate tax revenue. That is attributed primarily to a few small adjustments, but also the fact instead of going to the actual index, the millage rate increase proposed in this budget is 3.95%, which gives us a little less real estate tax revenue. Miscellaneous revenue is up $14,446. We got our IDEA allocation from the FCIU in the last week since we had that presentation. There's a decrease of $24,384. And then for food service utilities revenue, we found every way we could to balance this budget, and we can attribute and allocate the costs for utilities for the portion size of the building prorated, for the square footage of the kitchen versus that. So the food service fund has been doing very well with chart bells. We've been turning profits, and this is a way that they can help offset a little bit of the general fund budget. So we have a budget revenue of $35,684 there. On the expenditure side, the adjustments, district staffing, this is due to retirements and resignations. We were able to save some money and some adjustments to our special ed staffing. It's a savings of $270,000. And then the transfer capital reserves, I just mentioned that in the last slide. Originally, we were going to transfer $1 million, we're transferring $800,000 instead. That's $800,000, and that's how we would come to the balanced budget versus deficit from last week. Little overview, you see last year's actuals, and then you see the current year's budget. We adopted a balanced budget last year for the first time in a number of years. And then the third column is where we started this year. The budget process was a $5.7 million deficit. And then you see in the right-hand column that we balanced our revenues and expenditures at $159,785,442. And that is with a millage increase of 3.95. The big topic people want to know is how does it impact your taxes? So this presentation is on board docs. If anybody wants to go and calculate, even though your assessed value rate, you can calculate your tax increase. The example we have up here is the median value homestead in the district. And that median value homestead is $158,840 times the new millage rate of 35.8249. You divide that by 1,000, that goes to a flat tax amount. However, you got to take that down a little bit because of the tax relief from gambling revenues. This year that went up about $30 from last year. So we subtract the $338.15 off, and that green number there would be the base value of your real estate tax bill for the median assessed value. And then if you pay in July or August, you get a 2% discount, and you calculate your VAT on that house, and then if you pay after October 31st, then you pay 10% penalty. So if you know your assessed value of your home, you can do that with calculation as well, or you can include your tax bill July 1. So that's the impact there. Now, how does this compare to last year? As you can see, that median assessed value of home last year, the tax rate, and you can see the increase, but also you can see the homestead exclusion. Like I said, it went up about almost $30. Last year was $308.52 to $338.15. And then you can see the difference in the face value of that tax bill after the tax relief. So it'd be an increase for the median assessed value of home of $186.60. And with that increase in the tax relief, the effective increase in the taxes is 3.61%, even though the millage increase is 3.95. So you can see the impact of us raising our millage rate, the 10-year average growth rate for Souderton over the last 10 years with this rate is 2.09% over 10 years. Montgomery County average, according to the business managers that filled out the chart in the last couple of days, it's 2.36% for the county over that same period of time, and the actual index is average 3.2%. Of the 21 school districts in the Montgomery County community, we are 16th lowest increase out of 21 districts in that 10-year period. And we are the 12th out of 21 as far as overall millage rate in the county. And once again, people want to know how much they're going to pay. Here's some different numbers of what people are paying in taxes. There are 10,906 homestead properties in the Saturn Area School District. Approximately 25% of them will have a tax bill less than $4,150. About half will have taxes between $4,150 and $7,225. And then the remaining 25% will have a tax bill over $7,225. And that is,
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Nelson, that's all. Thank you, Mr. Key. So we have 3 items up for discussion and action. I'm going to take them one by one, and we're going to do a roll call vote on all of them. So the first one is going to be the approval of the 2025-2026 final general fund budget. That is 7.1. Do I have a motion to accept?
Move.
Second. Okay. Any discussion or any questions? Mr. Braun?
This is my 20th year of doing the budget, working on the budget process. If anybody knows me over the last 20 years, I was a lot of times the only no vote. Always worried about the taxpayers of affording this. Yes, we're going to rebalance budget with the 3.95. It's too high. Taxpayers deserve better. It is not the board's fault. People want to blame the board. Harrisburg does not give us the amount of money that we should be getting. Okay? If you get, in 1958, there was a law passed for mandatory subjects we're supposed to teach and everything else. They're supposed to fund 75% of that, of the cost of that mandatory. We don't get that. Okay? Meanwhile, Harrisburg sits on over a $4 billion surplus, and they cut, we don't get what we deserve. I am tired of the local taxpayers footing the bill because Harrisburg doesn't give what we deserve. It's not, we do up here, we try hard. We do zero line item budget, you see where every single cent goes. But we're short on special ed, what we should be getting. It is not the responsibility of the local taxpayers to foot that bill anymore. So I have a very hard time every year voting on the budget when the local taxpayers can't afford it. But I have to vote yes because it's part of the process. And every year I sit up here and I do my rant. I apologize, this is the last time you'll hear this. But it's not fair to the local. I can't say, you just saw 25% of the households don't get an increase. 50% pays it, and unfortunately I'm in the over 75% that, everybody looks at me, but yeah, I multiply that by 6, that's what I end up paying, okay? It's hard, and it's the very hardest thing to live 20 years ago, I always had to set up here and do. And the public starts to this all has to come from you. I do this today because it gets out there. We got to put the pressure on Harrisburg. That's the important part here. Harrisburg needs to give the proper funding. The federal government, look at what we get from the federal government, and they're the ones who opposes, no child left behind and everything else. I've seen over the years. Okay? But this board and Mr. Taylor, sleepless nights over the last 2 weeks. Yes, I understand his job, but poor Mike. And he brings it in every year. And I just want to stress again, enough's enough for the locals. We have to, start contacting your state representatives, your state senators. It's got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. Mike, just go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again for all the hard work. I know how hard this was to do, and I appreciate you doing it in a way that is not going to affect the students. That's fantastic. We have a mental health crisis in this country, and the services cost a lot of money. And if we just took out the portion that we're spending on that alone, we wouldn't have to increase taxes at all. If we just focused on the special ed programs and just took that block out, we wouldn't have to increase the taxes on it, right? When you start piling these things up, it's becoming a real struggle. I know you guys have heard me say this before, but it's only getting worse. And we're not gonna be able to fix it here. We're going through so much, our community is only so large, we're going through so much at it. The principals came in last year and they said, not only are they seeing more instances of children with special needs and especially like violence, you know, like situations we can't even handle in school. But it's more severe than ever and we're seeing more than ever. Okay? We're gonna lose a generation of children. In this community, we can't throw enough money at them. Okay? We are there and we as a community, we're there for these children. And we're doing everything that we can. But it's coming to a point where it'll bankrupt us. Please, let's do everything we can as a community to make sure that Harrisburg understands that we can't continue to be like this. We have to find out what the problem is and then solve it when they're younger, when the children maybe before they get into school. You know, or they need to fund more so that we can help these children do what they want. We could cut the budgets and we cannot give these children what they want, what they need. You know, but we know that's not right. But if we work together, we can really make sure that these people understand that they either need to work to solve the problem or they really need to help us to fund the issue. Okay, whether that's through grants or reimbursing us, whatever it may be. There's got to be a way for them to do it because the children really need it. So please, you know, if we have to all get together sometime and go to Harrisburg, and you know, I know that Mitch is really involved with that, and you know, but we need to do something because next year it's going to be worse. And I'm sure we have people here from other school districts. I'm sure it's the same in their school districts. You know, this is not a Souderton thing. You know, so please. Let's do everything that we can to make sure that the people in our community that are already struggling financially don't have to take more of a burden because the state isn't allowing us to receive the funds that we're due for the level of education we're giving the students and the support we're giving them that they're mandating as well. So maybe I'll just start to pick up where your rants go when you're gone.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Barnes.
Well, I'd like to reiterate everything that Mr. Braun and Mr. Barnes said, but in good conscience, even though I agree with everything they're saying, I have to vote no to this budget. I think that no matter what we do, nothing's changing. I think writing to our senators is doing nothing. Maybe we need to take a stand in some other way, but I don't want to have a deficit. I don't want to cut teachers. I don't want to cut any programs from our schools, but I think what we're doing isn't working. And whether it's showing, you know, we've been one of the schools who's been properly raising taxes little by little. Yes, last year we did have a little bit of an increase, again, because of the special needs that we have to support these kids, but we can't let anyone fall through the cracks. But unfortunately, we've been penalized for doing the responsible thing and continuing to tax little by little, where schools that are taxing to the max are getting more funding from the state because they're doing that. I don't want to see that happen to us, but I can't agree with hurting some of our citizens who $180, $200 can make or break a meal and keeping the lights on, and I can't vote for that. So I apologize. I appreciate, Mr. Taylor, all your work that you're doing. It's amazing that you were able to come up with a balanced budget. I just personally am going to vote no on it.
Thank you. Any other board member? Okay, call the vote, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Broncho.
Yes.
Mr. Braun.
Yes.
Ms. Lizak.
Yes.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Mr. Formica.
Yes.
Ms. Wheeler.
No.
Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
and Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Okay, let's go on to 7.2. We need to approve the 2025-2026 homestead resolution. Do I have a motion?
Move.
Second. All in favor? Oh, no, sorry, we said we were going to do a roll call. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Pache,
Yes.
Mr. Cron,
Yes.
Ms. Lizette,
Yes.
Mr. Keith,
Yes.
Mr. Formica,
Yes.
Ms. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
and Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you. Now we need to approve the district depositories for 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, call for questions and comments. Okay, Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Pache,
Yes.
Mr. Cron,
Yes.
Ms. Lizette,
Yes.
Mr. Keith,
Yes.
Mr. Formica,
Yes.
Ms. Wheeler,
Yes.
Mr. Barnes,
Yes.
Mr. Nelson,
Yes.
and motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Okay, future meetings. Wednesday, June 25th, SEIU, at 6:45.
Mr. Nelson?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to make a quick note. The roll call that popped up there, it said that there was no absences, but Mr. Landis is absent.
The meeting, when we started the meeting, he marked his absence, so he didn't show up in the roll call.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Wednesday, August 13th, couple, not next month, but the following month. August 13th, the board committee meetings, 6:30 in this building. August 18th, North Monco Technical Career Center at 7 o'clock. That'll be determined where that's going to be. Yeah. So it's August 18th, that's virtual. Okay, it's a virtual meeting. The SIU will meet again on August 27th in Norristown. And then our school board director's meeting will be here August 28th at 7 o'clock. Okay, report of the solicitor.
I have nothing to report on this evening.
Any unfinished business, new business for the board? Okay, public comments, Mr. Taylor.
We have Corinne Gizo on meeting considerations.
Corinne DeJaso, Upper Salford. I urge you to consider the following crucial updates to the Broadcasting Board Meetings Policy 903. While not the official record, meeting recordings provide a more detailed view than the minutes. Indefinitely archiving them would enhance transparency for those seeking comprehensive details of past meetings. I once again request that the community members be allowed to submit their comments before an action meeting so that they can be included in the dialogue. While I understand this may require additional time and effort, it has been successfully done before. This live stream approach would encourage greater participation from the community, particularly for those who cannot physically attend meetings. It also fosters a sense of belonging and accessibility. Please consider these updates to the policy as it would significantly improve transparency and community engagement. Sollerton deserves better.
Rosemary Budakoffer on cybersecurity.
Good evening, Rosemary Budakoffer, Southerton Borough. I have a concern to raise about cybersecurity in the district. First, as I pointed out earlier this year about the technology committee, which has only met, I believe, once in the last year, met very infrequently. It's hard to understand why the district's technology committee is not holding monthly meetings, considering the impact that technology has on curriculum now. Any breach could be both expensive and devastating to construction. So when I saw 2 weeks ago in the Philadelphia Inquirer, there was a story about board docs, the most commonly used paperless meeting and policy management system used by school boards in Pennsylvania. Southerton uses board docs. In April, the Lower Merion School District discussed discovered a security flaw in board docs, which had compromised a trove of highly confidential legal files. And those papers were found by a community member who was browsing the district's board doc site. Initially, it was reported that highly sensitive papers were inadvertently published online, including attorney-client privileged legal memos, confidential employee information, and issues relating to students identified by initials. The information dated back in 2017. It is still unclear how long they were viewable. On June 16th, a follow-up article was published in the Inquirer, which disclosed the breach was not isolated to Lower Merion. The Inquirer contacted several school districts in the Philadelphia area and discovered that none of the districts had been contacted by board docs about the security flaw. And the districts did not know if any of their documents were exposed until they asked board docs to check. Nationwide, over 64,000 files were affected by the security breach. So my question is, were you aware of the security breach? Have you been contacted by board docs to see if any of our files were affected? Did board docs contact you? And are you confident in the security of board docs going forward? Thank you.
We were not contacted by board docs. I am not aware of anything being compromised. And we don't put a whole lot of documents in the administrative things of the board docs. And our cybersecurity is, because unfortunately what we went through is second to none. So we are always constantly working with CrowdStrike to make sure that we're protected.
All right, we have Alex Visser on cyber charter.
Alex Wisser, Upper Southwood Township. The current cyber charter funding formula is outdated and forces public school districts like Sourton to overpay cyber charter schools, draining local tax dollars from our classrooms each year. That's why reform efforts like House Bill 1500 are so important. House Bill 1500 is not an attack on school choice. It is a long overdue effort to bring fairness and transparency to Pennsylvania's broken cyber charter school funding system. Districts across the state, including ours, have been calling for reform for years because the current formula is costly and unsustainable. The bill does not shut down cyber charter schools. It reins in excessive tuition rates and holds the institutions accountable for how they use public dollars. It also prevents cyber charters from stockpiling millions in reserves, while traditional public schools struggle to fund special education, mental health services, and basic classroom needs. According to Mr. Taylor, if House Bill 1500 were to pass, our district could save $1.1 million annually. Considering that until very recently the district had an almost $5 million budget deficit, that is not an insignificant amount. While the school board has encouraged residents to contact their legislators in support of reform, it is important to note that State Representative Shuring, a former Sourton School Board Director herself, voted against House Bill 1500. Her vote was a vote to maintain the broken funding system that continues to strain our local school budget. I'd also like to note that Representative McKenzie voted against it. However, Representative Malgary voted in favor of this much-needed legislation. The bill now goes to the state Senate. Senators Collette and Pennycook's votes for House Bill 1500 can make the difference in finally passing common sense reform. If we want to maintain a strong, well-funded public school system, we need more than complaints about state-level inaction. We need local leadership that is proactive, transparent, and willing to advocate forcefully for our district's needs, while also being open with the community about the challenges we face. Thank you.
So thank you for your comments. We continue to advocate for cyber charter reform. That bill, to me, when I looked at it, was pretty much voted on party lines. So I do know that in the Senate there are 2 or 3 bills that are being worked
Mr. Nelson, two other audience members are registered for public comment, but they're not residents of the school district as required by policy 903, which governs the public participation in board meetings.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. So, before we adjourn, I just want to thank everyone for the school year.
So wait a second.
And you don't have the right to speak, Ken, you don't have the right to speak. Okay, you're not a resident, and it was a point, okay? So.
Can we get guidance on how to submit policy 906?
You emailed that, you did email that to me, and we will take that under consideration.
Consideration?
Yeah, you followed the process, you emailed me the complaint form. So,
Can a resident read the 906?
No, you didn't, you did not.
Just like in Mrs. Firstein style?
No, you.
Okay.
All right, so then we'll just, that.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go once instead.
It can't hurt.
So make sure, all I was gonna say, have a safe and happy, summer and have a towards July.
too.
It's just Juneteenth Day, I apologize. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
move.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
That's really interesting. Yeah, no, okay, this is what we need to see. I'm in around.